Being unavailable is not about bitterness, it's about boundaries. It's not about pretending you don't care, it's about actually realizing you deserve more. It's the woman who walks away without slamming the door. The one who doesn't need to curse him out. She just stops showing up where she's not respected, and that absence, it haunts him more than any angry message ever could. Because the moment you make yourself fully unavailable to someone who took you for granted is the moment they start to understand the value of your presence. You become the one that got away, not because you were hard to get, but because you finally realized you were too valuable to wait around for someone to see your worth. Let his ego starve. Not with bitterness, but with brilliance, because sometimes silence is the only language a fragile ego understands. The kind of silence that doesn't scream, doesn't post, doesn't beg, it just withdraws. Gently, powerfully, unapologetically. He was used to your attention like oxygen. Every good morning text. Every "are you okay?" when he went silent. Every time you cracked open your heart just so he'd feel loved even when he didn't deserve it. You gave him the spotlight, the comfort, the emotional security. And in return, he gave you confusion, inconsistency, and crumbs. But here's the secret: when you stop feeding a man's ego, you start feeding your own soul. There was a girl who kept checking his social media, waiting for signs. She'd post stories hoping he'd watch. She'd keep showing up in his world just enough to be noticed, not enough to be loved. And one day she said, "Why am I keeping him emotionally full while I'm starving for the bare minimum?" That moment changed everything. She went cold not because she hated him, but because she loved herself more. You see, when you stop reacting to his ego games, it drives him mad. Because men like that aren't addicted to you, they're addicted to your attention. They thrive on knowing you're still there, still watching, still waiting. But the moment he opens that message and sees no reply, watches your story and sees no trace of pain, that's when he feels the hunger. His ego starts gasping for the validation it once fed on daily. Another woman, successful, confident, radiant, kept going back to a man who breadcrumbed her. Every time she pulled away, he dropped just enough affection to pull her back in. Like clockwork. But one day she didn't respond. No tears. No paragraphs, just presence in her own life. She got busy becoming the woman she'd neglected while chasing his half-love. That's when he panicked. That's when he came crawling. Because the ego, when starved, wouldn't treat on your peace. But she wasn't serving it anymore. Starving his ego means you stop answering his low-effort texts. Why? Doesn't get a reply from a queen. The first miss you doesn't melt a heart that remembers how much it cried. You stop rewarding inconsistency with your loyalty. Stop giving energy to what drains you. You stop playing therapist, caretaker, backup plan. You become so emotionally unavailable to his games that he starts to feel invisible in your world the same way he made you feel in his. It's like this. Imagine you were the spotlight, the applause, the crowd. He was just the act. But he got used to your light. And then you switched it off. Now the stage is quiet, empty. He's still performing, but no one's watching. That's what it feels like when you stop feeding his ego. He's still trying to be the main character, but you're no longer in the audience. When his ego is hungry, it will try every trick. The random hey, the accidental call. The "I've been thinking about you." But you're wiser now, because you've learned that love isn't real if it only shows up when it's lonely. True love doesn't compete with pride, and real connection doesn't need to be fed with constant validation. There's a girl who deleted every photo, not out of spite, but out of freedom. She unfollowed, muted, detached, not to hurt him, but to heal herself. She let his ego text the void. Let him wonder. Let him scroll and not find her. Because sometimes the loudest message is no message at all. His ego wanted a reaction, but your silence became the revolution. Letting his ego starve isn't about cruelty. It's about clarity. It's not a game, it's a boundary. You're no longer in the business of feeding temporary men with permanent energy. You've upgraded, you've elevated. And now, he can dine on memories because you're no longer on the menu. Change the game. Don't replay it. Because the truth is, you're not here to rewind heartbreaks, repeat patterns, or relive pain like it's your favorite sad song. You're here to rewrite the entire script. You're not the girl you were when he played you, ghosted you, or treated your love like an option. You're wiser, sharper, stronger. You don't need revenge, you need reinvention. Think about it. Every time you replay the same dynamic, you're stuck in a loop where he wins without even trying. A loop where your value is based on his attention. But once you decide to change the game, the rules no longer apply. The game he knew where you chased, over-explained, accepted less, that game is over. This new version of you, she doesn't chase, she chooses. There's a woman I know, powerful, resilient, magnetic. She used to keep falling into the same emotional cycle with a man who breadcrumbed her, texted just enough to keep her around, but never enough to commit. Every time she tried to leave, he'd reel her back in with sweet words and empty promises. But one day she stopped reacting. Not because she stopped feeling, but because she started healing. She didn't answer his "I miss you" text. She didn't meet him for closure. She changed the game. She blocked the pattern, not the person. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you. And you can't elevate your life by repeating yesterday's mistakes in prettier packaging. Some women go back, thinking maybe this time he'll change. But darling, if the game stays the same, the ending will always repeat. If he keeps treating your heart like a revolving door, it's time to shut it. Permanently. Changing the game means stepping into your worth like it's non-negotiable. It's not replying with long essays to defend your heart. It's not waiting by the phone for a man who forgot your value. It's not dressing up your wounds and calling it love. It's looking at your reflection and saying, I refuse to play small so someone else can feel big. There's a girl who used to accept being a second choice. The when he's bored text. The you up call. The weekend plans that never came. She'd cry, forgive, repeat. Until one day she took all that energy and invested it into herself. She traveled. She built her business. She glowed up mentally, emotionally, physically. And when he came back expecting the old game, he couldn't recognize the woman in front of him. Because she changed the arena. He wasn't ready for this level. You are not here to prove your worth to someone who lost the privilege to witness it. You're not an old game he can replay when he's lonely. You are a whole new challenge, the kind that makes a man level up or walk away. Because now you're not waiting, you're winning. Quietly, consistently, unapologetically. Every queen who's ever been broken had a moment where she looked at her pain and said, this won't be my identity, this will be my ignition. That's when she stopped playing the game. That's when she built her own. A woman like that doesn't need to beg for love. She becomes the love. And that's what terrifies him. He no longer holds the power. She does. So no, you don't replay what broke you, you rebuild, you rise, you replace desperation with direction. You stop being a player in his story and become the author of your own. Because when you change the game, you don't just shock him, you shock yourself with the woman you're becoming. And that woman, she doesn't chase closure. She creates empires. Forgive, but don't forget the lesson. Because forgiveness isn't saying what you did was okay. It's saying I'm no longer letting what you did control me. It's not about letting someone back in. It's about letting the pain out. It's about breathing again without bitterness, laughing again without flashbacks, walking again without dragging the weight of betrayal behind you. There's a woman who gave her heart to a man who didn't know how to hold it. He lied. He cheated. He disappeared when she needed him most. And for the longest time, she carried that betrayal like armor, refusing to trust, refusing to love, building walls so high even she forgot who she was on the other side. But one night she looked at herself in the mirror, tears in her eyes, and whispered, I forgive you, not for you. For me, that was the night she chose freedom over resentment. She let go not because he deserved peace, but because she did. Forgiveness doesn't mean access. You can forgive someone and still block them, still walk away, still protect your peace. That's not being cold. That's being clear. You don't have to reopen a door just because you no longer want to burn down the house. Forgiveness is for your soul. The lesson, that's for your survival. There's another story. A girl who kept giving second chances not because she was weak, but because she believed people could change. Every apology, every tear, every late night call saying, I'll do better this time, she believed them. Until one day she realized she wasn't healing, she was helping him avoid accountability. So she forgave him quietly, prayed for him silently, and then walked away completely. She learned the lesson, real change doesn't come in words, it comes in consistent action. And not everyone's ready to meet you at the level of love you offer. The lesson isn't just about the betrayal, it's about you. What did it teach you about your boundaries? Your self-worth, your patience, your strength, your power. Because sometimes God allows certain people to break you, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. There's wisdom in every wound if you're brave enough to look. A woman once said, I don't hate him. I just finally love myself more. That's what true forgiveness feels like. Not a rush of emotion, not a single moment, but a journey. A quiet decision every single day to not let the past poison your present. But that doesn't mean forgetting the fire. You carry the lesson like a diamond, not to punish others, but to protect yourself. Every queen has a moment where she decides, I'm not staying stuck in what happened. But I'll never again ignore the signs that got me there. That's called growth. That's called grace with wisdom. You'll smile again. You'll trust again. But this time your soul will come with filters. Not walls, but wisdom. Not fear, but discernment. The girl who forgave too fast, who said it's okay when it wasn't, who tried to keep the peace at the cost of her own, she's gone. In her place stands a woman who doesn't seek revenge, doesn't chase closure, doesn't need validation. She forgives so she can sleep at night, but she remembers the lesson so she never has to learn it twice. You can love someone and still walk away. You can have compassion and still choose distance. You can wish someone healing and still protect your own heart from harm. That's not cruelty. That's emotional intelligence, because you didn't go through all that pain just to end up repeating it in prettier disguises. You didn't survive to be soft for someone else's ego. You forgave to become lighter, not to stay blind. So yes, forgive. Cry it out, pray it out, breathe it out, but tattoo the lesson on your soul, because that lesson, that's your armor. That's your evolution. That's the version of you who never lets the same hand hurt her twice. And now, take a deep breath. Not because the pain is gone, but because you're finally ready to rise above it. This isn't just about getting him back, it never truly was. This is about getting you back. The real you. The you before he questioned your worth. The you before love made you doubt your power. And the you now rebuilt, reborn, unshakable. Because let me tell you something fierce and unforgettable, you don't chase what walks away. You replace it with something better, something stronger, something that matches your energy, not drains it. He will come back, yes, but by then you won't just be healed, you'll be upgraded. And when he does, he won't recognize you, not because you changed who you are, but because you finally became who you were always meant to be. You don't beg for a seat at a table you built. You don't shrink to fit into someone's idea of acceptable. You rise, you expand, you walk like the storm that you are. They didn't see your worth when you handed them your heart. That's fine. Because now you're the kind of woman who makes her absence louder than her presence ever was. You don't whisper your value anymore, you radiate it. The most powerful move a woman can make is to stop playing small for someone who doesn't even know how to love big. Let them go. Let their silence echo. Let their ego starve. And while they scroll through your glow up, wondering how they lost someone like you, you'll be too busy building empires, loving yourself louder, and being absolutely unavailable to the same pain twice. There's a quote that says, she remembered who she was and the game changed. That's you. That's your story. You don't need to scream your comeback. Just walk in silence and let your transformation make all the noise. Be so untouchable, so self-aware, so in love with your own life that they regret every single time they made you feel like you weren't enough. Look around. Look at you. Look at everything you've survived, the tears you never showed, the silent nights, the lonely victories, the mornings you got up when no one saw you break the night before. That's not weakness, that's warrior energy. That's queen energy. That's divine revenge, not through destruction, but through elevation. And when people ask, how did she bounce back? You tell them, I didn't bounce back, darling, I rebuilt. Brick by brick, scar by scar, soul first, spirit next, body last, you became the masterpiece. The art they overlooked now hangs in a gallery they can't afford to walk into. Never forget, you are not their loss, they are yours. Because once a woman starts dating herself, healing herself, loving herself, she becomes untouchable. Not cold, not bitter, but wise, selective, and deeply at peace. You're not the same girl who used to cry herself to sleep. You're not the one who used to overthink the texts he didn't send. You're the woman who writes her own damn love story now. And guess what? You're the main character. Not the side piece, not the placeholder, not the afterthought, the main event. Let him come back. Let him knock. Let him plead. But when he does, don't just open the door. Stand at it with grace, with power, with a soft smile that says, thank you for teaching me exactly what I deserve. Because the woman who disappears with dignity, glows up in silence, dates herself first, never proves her worth, starves his ego, changes the game, and forgives without forgetting, she becomes the storm he never saw coming. And darling, storms don't ask for permission. They arrive unapologetically, just like you.